These zodiac signs were born with spiritual protection. In ancient Egyptian tradition, it was believed that a person is not simply born with a certain character. They are born with an invisible companion, a force that walks beside them and reacts to danger before the person even realizes it. Interestingly, 4 zodiac signs are described in various traditions, from Vedic astrology to Kabbalah, as possessing a special natural protection, not a magical amulet, something built in. Subscribe. Here they explain where this comes from and how it actually works. Taurus. Taurus is protected not because they are strong in the classical sense. They are protected because they are grounded, and this grounding is not a metaphor. It is a concrete way in which Taurus builds their existence. They always find solid ground beneath their feet where others are already falling. In ancient Mesopotamian texts, the bull was a symbol not of aggression, but of steadfastness, an animal that does not retreat. It was believed that those born under this sign carry something of this quality within them, the ability to withstand pressure without crumbling. Taurus' spiritual protection lies precisely here. When everything around them is unstable, they stand firm. When others lose their bearings, they feel the ground beneath their feet and remain. This is not stubbornness or insensitivity. It is a very deep, natural connection to what is real and constant, but there is a place where this protection becomes vulnerable. Taurus is protected from external blows, but they are poorly protected from their own closed-off nature. When they hold everything inside for too long, when they don't let go of what has already run its course, that protection begins to work against them. They hold on not only to the good, but also to what should have been let go of long ago, and then rootedness turns into immobility. There is another layer to this topic that is rarely discussed. Taurus' spiritual protection is especially strong when they act from their own nature, without trying to be someone else, without conforming to others' expectations. It is then that a special aura forms around them. People perceive them as reliable, as a pillar of support, as someone with whom it is safe to be. This is no coincidence. It is something they have carried since birth. Subscribe if you want to understand your sign more deeply, not through predictions, but through how you are truly wired and where your true source of strength lies. The most interesting thing here is that Taurus themselves rarely realize how much of a shield they are for others and how much this role is tied to their own safety. Pisces. Pisces are protected differently than any other sign. Their protection lies neither in strength nor in stability, it lies in fluidity. They move in such a way that the blow simply passes them by, not because they avoid it, but because they do not stand where danger awaits. In the Sufi tradition, there was the concept of the water person, one who does not resist the flow but goes with it, and precisely because of this remains whole where others break. Pisces is a natural illustration of this state, but there is a nuance that is very important to understand. Pisces' spiritual protection is active only when they do not try to become solid where their nature is fluid. When Pisces begin to pressure themselves and force themselves to be rigid, structured, and unyielding, the protection weakens, because they start resisting the flow instead of going with it. There is another side to this topic that almost no one talks about. Pisces have a rare ability to go through situations that would be devastating for others and emerge from them not broken but somehow changed for the better. They don't always understand how this happens. It just happens somehow. This is their protection, not armor, but the ability to transform a blow into an experience, but there is a place where they are most vulnerable. Pisces lose their protection when they immerse themselves too deeply in someone else's pain. when they take on someone else's darkness, believing they're helping. At such a moment, they open up where they should remain closed. Pisces' spiritual protection is about knowing their limits. When they know this, they are nearly impenetrable. When they forget, they become very vulnerable precisely because of what is their strength. Libra. Libras are protected by balance, but not the kind everyone thinks of. Their balance is not passive. It is not a state of conflict-free neutrality. It is an active ability to hold two opposing states simultaneously, to see both sides and not be torn between them. In ancient Egyptian tradition, the goddess Maat, who personified justice and cosmic order, was depicted with scales. It was believed that those born under this symbol carry within them a part of this function, the ability to maintain balance where others choose one side and lose their integrity. Libra's spiritual protection lies in the fact that they do not break under contradictions, where others are forced to choose and hate themselves for any choice. Libras find a third option, or they know how to wait until balance restores itself. This gives them a kind of immunity of situations where others get stuck for a long time. But there is one very specific place where this protection doesn't work. Libras are vulnerable to their own fear of upsetting the balance, when they are so afraid of breaking the balance that they don't take a single step. They stop moving. And then their protection becomes a trap. They stand in the middle between two options and can't move in either direction. Libra's true protection isn't activated when they avoid making a choice. It's activated when they make a choice and remain whole afterward. There's one more thing. Libras often serve as a shield for others. People around them feel safe, experiencing a sense of balance they couldn't find on their own. But Libras themselves rarely think of themselves as protectors. They simply exist, and the space around them changes. Leo. Leo is protected by their presence, not through physical strength or social authority, but because when Leo is in a space, that space changes. It becomes harder for people around them to hide behind a mask, harder to be inauthentic. Something in his presence demands that those around him be genuine. In Celtic tradition, the lion was considered the guardian of the threshold, the animal embodiment of the force that stands between the human world and that which might harm them. Not because it fights, but because it is a barrier in and of itself. Leo's spiritual protection works in a similar way. He doesn't always know what he's protecting. Simply by his presence, he creates a field in which certain things cannot exist. Manipulation, insincerity, hidden aggression. They simply cannot withstand contact with what Leo carries within him. But there is a place where this protection weakens. When Leo starts playing a role instead of being himself, the protection disappears, because it is based not on an image, but on authenticity. As soon as Leo starts maintaining a facade instead of simply being, the field collapses. There is another very important detail. Leo is most strongly protected precisely when he isn't thinking about protection, when he is focused on what he is doing, when he is in his natural role, when he shines without calculation. At that moment, something arises around him that people perceive as safety. But as soon as he starts thinking about how he looks, the power diminishes. Subscribe and discover what your sign holds within, what no one has explained to you before. Leo's spiritual protection is always about how much they allow themselves to be authentic. It is their most powerful weapon, and at the same time, their most vulnerable spot. 4 signs, 4 completely different types of natural protection. Taurus through rootedness and stability, Pisces through fluidity and transformation, Libra through the ability to maintain balance without division, Leo through a presence that needs no explanation. Each of them has carried this since birth. The only question is whether a person knows it, and whether they use their natural power consciously. Write your sign in the comments, and whether you ever felt this protection in your life.